Element 3.4, Assessing Risk. As a first step, let's look into some important definitions of some key terms. Hazard. A hazard is defined as the potential of something to cause harm, whether it poses a risk of injuring individuals or damaging property. Hazards come in various forms and can be found in different settings, ranging from the workplace to our everyday surroundings. An example of a hazard is a wet and slippery floor in a supermarket. In this scenario, the potential harm is the risk of customers and employees slipping and getting injured. The hazard, in this case, is the wet floor. The next term is risk. Risk is the probability or likelihood of an event or circumstance occurring that may have adverse effects on objectives. It involves the combination of the probability of an event and its consequences. In risk management, there are two primary approaches to assess and evaluate risks: quantitative and qualitative risk assessment. Quantitative risk assessment is a method which involves assigning numerical values to the probability and consequences of identified risks. It's a data-driven approach that uses precise calculations and in-depth data analysis to estimate the potential impact of risks. Qualitative risk assessment, on the other hand, doesn't rely on numerical values, but rather evaluates risks based on their characteristics and relative importance. This approach is driven by expert judgment, experience, and subjective analysis. We will study more about this in the upcoming slides. The last definition is residual risk. Residual risk refers to the level of risk that remains after risk mitigation measures or controls have been applied. It represents the potential risk that still exists, even though efforts have been made to reduce or manage the initial risk. The objectives of risk assessments encompass several critical aspects. Firstly, they aim to quantify and characterize the various risks involved in a particular context, providing a clear understanding of potential threats. Secondly, risk assessments play a pivotal role in injury and illness prevention by identifying and prioritizing risks, thus facilitating their mitigation or minimization. Moreover, conducting risk assessments is often a legal requirement, ensuring compliance with regulations and standards. Lastly, these assessments yield valuable information that aids in informed decision-making, assisting in the development of effective procedures, policies, and strategies. By achieving these objectives, risk assessments contribute to safer and more compliant environments. In this slide, we will look into different types of incidents. Occupational ill health pertains to health issues, whether physical or mental, that are either directly caused by or exacerbated by workplace conditions and activities. It encompasses a wide range of health problems that can arise as a result of occupational exposure. The onset of symptoms and diseases related to occupational ill health can vary in duration, from short-term conditions, such as asthma attacks, to long-term effects like deafness or cancer. Identifying and addressing factors contributing to occupational ill health is vital for the well-being and safety of workers in various occupational settings. An incident is characterized as any unforeseen occurrence or event that results in injuries or ill health of individuals, or in damage or loss to residential or commercial property, equipment, products, or the environment. It may also encompass incidents that have the potential to harm a company's reputation. The term incidents is used to describe a wide range of unexpected events, and its proper management and analysis are crucial for the safety of people, the protection of property, and the preservation of an organization's integrity and credibility. And finally, a dangerous occurrence refers to a clearly identifiable event, as stipulated by national laws and regulations, that possesses the potential to cause injury or illness to individuals at work or to the public. These occurrences are significant incidents that, if not properly addressed, can result in harm. Examples of dangerous occurrences include incidents like the sudden collapse of a scaffold or crane, as well as failures in passenger carrying equipment. Identifying and reporting dangerous occurrences is essential for maintaining safety in workplaces and public spaces. Understanding the distinctions between various types of incidents is crucial in safety management. A near miss refers to an unplanned event that could have resulted in loss or injury but ultimately did not. It serves as a valuable warning of potential hazards, such as a spill on a tile floor, causing a person to slip, without any resulting injury. On the other hand, damage-only incidents involve unplanned events leading to damage to equipment or property, but no personal injury, as seen in cases like the demolition of a wall, resulting in property damage but no harm to individuals. Recognizing these different incident types aids in implementing effective safety measures and preventing potential risks. This picture would give you a clear idea on what is unsafe condition, unsafe act, near miss, and an accident. Our next topic is risk assessors. Risk assessors are individuals who are considered competent in the field of risk assessment. They possess both the necessary experience and relevant training to effectively evaluate and manage risks. Competency in risk assessment is vital for ensuring the safety and well-being of individuals, as well as for the protection of property and the environment. A team approach is often beneficial, with members including workers familiar with the tasks, health and safety specialists, technical experts, line managers, and worker safety representatives. This collective effort ensures a comprehensive and informed approach to risk assessment, promoting a safer work environment. A suitable and sufficient risk assessment is a comprehensive evaluation that ensures the safety of the workplace. It includes a proper assessment that takes into account all individuals affected by the risk and assesses all significant hazards. The risk control measures are applied to the extent that is reasonably practicable, aiming to minimize residual risks. Employee and representative consultation is a key part of the process. Additionally, the assessment should be proportionate to the risks present in the workplace, whether they are of low or high risk, ensuring that safety measures are appropriately tailored to the level of risk involved. This approach helps create a safe and balanced work environment. Risk assessment is a structured process aimed at ensuring workplace safety. It comprises of several key steps. First, hazards in the workplace are identified, including physical, chemical, and ergonomic risks. Next, the assessment determines who might be at risk and how they could be harmed, encompassing all individuals present in the work setting. Risks and existing control measures are evaluated, and additional controls are chosen if needed. Comprehensive documentation of the assessment's findings is crucial. The process doesn't end there. Regular reviews and revisions are essential to maintain a safe work environment. These steps together create a systematic approach to identifying, evaluating, and managing risks, enhancing workplace safety continuously. In the next slides, we will look into each of these steps in detail. The first step in risk assessment is the identification of hazards, which involves recognizing common workplace risks such as slips, trips, and falls, as well as working in extreme temperature conditions, both indoors and outdoors. Various methods can be used to identify these hazards, often summarized by the acronym LIMITIR. This includes consulting relevant legislation, inspecting the work area, checking manufacturers' and suppliers' manuals, engaging with workers and supervisors, conducting task analyses, reviewing incident data, and thoroughly examining documentation related to the workplace. This initial phase sets the foundation for a comprehensive risk assessment process. In this slide you can see some of the categories of hazards. Remember, these are the different kind of hazards that you will use for your IG2 report. How to write the IG2 report will be carefully defined in a separate module. Next step is identification of population at risk. The next step in the risk assessment process involves identifying the population at risk by considering who might be harmed within the workplace. This group includes employees, shared workplace staff, delivery vehicle operators, visitors, members of the public, and even emergency services personnel. Understanding how they might be harmed is also crucial, including potential risks such as slips, trips, and falls, injuries from cuts, abrasions, or punctures caused by sharp objects, falling objects, exposure to noise and vibration, and the hazards associated with handling heavy objects. This assessment helps to pinpoint the specific risks facing each group within the workplace. Evaluating risk and adequacy of control. Evaluating risk and the adequacy of control involves assessing two key factors: likelihood, probability, and severity, consequence. Likelihood refers to the subjective assessment of how likely it is that a hazard will be realized, while severity pertains to the potential outcomes of such a hazard. The risk level is determined by multiplying these two factors, helping to gauge the overall risk associated with a particular hazard. This evaluation assists in prioritizing and addressing risks effectively, based on their potential impact and likelihood of occurrence. So now you have estimated the risk and worked out your risk level. What is the next step? International Occupational Safety and Health or labor law expects organizations to do everything reasonably practicable to protect people from harm. Usually, the higher the risk level, the more serious the risk is, and the more likely you will need to take action. To make it easier to decide on the urgency of the action, you can allocate an action level to each level of risk. This way of estimating and evaluating risk is called the risk matrix approach. It is a commonly used tool. When evaluating risk and the adequacy of control measures, it's essential to assess the effectiveness of existing controls. These protective methods can encompass a variety of strategies, such as physical barriers, warning signs, safe access and egress, permits to work, training, inspection and maintenance, housekeeping, ventilation, and the use of personal protective equipment, PPE. This comprehensive evaluation ensures that the measures in place are appropriate and efficient in minimizing or preventing harm, contributing to a safer work environment. In the process of evaluating and enhancing workplace safety, risk assessments consider both existing control measures and the potential need for additional safety measures. To achieve the highest level of safety, a systematic hierarchy is followed. First and foremost, the aim is to eliminate the hazard entirely, whenever possible. If complete elimination is not feasible, the next step involves substituting the hazard with a less dangerous alternative. If substitution is not an option, the focus turns to isolating or separating the hazard from individuals who could be affected. Additionally, engineering controls may be introduced, or work processes may be reorganized to reduce the associated risks. As a final safeguard, personal protective equipment, PPE, is considered when no other control measures suffice. This approach ensures that risks are minimized effectively and safety remains a top priority in the workplace. In this picture you can find an example on application of hierarchy of controls against the hazards related to driving at work, while using cars. Please take some time and go through each one of them carefully. Signboards are visual tools that convey essential information through a combination of shapes, colors, symbols, or pictograms. Within this category, you'll find various types of signs that serve distinct purposes. Prohibition signs clearly communicate what actions or behaviors are not allowed. Warning signs are used to alert individuals to potential hazards or threats in the workplace. Mandatory signs specify actions that must be undertaken. Safe condition signs offer information about safety conditions, and fire-related signs indicate equipment and provisions for fire emergency use. Additionally, there are also acoustic signals and hand and arm signals, used for auditory and nonverbal communication in specific contexts, each with its unique significance. These signs and signals play a crucial role in promoting safety and conveying important messages in various environments. Personnel protective equipment, often abbreviated as PPE, encompasses all equipment, including clothing designed to safeguard individuals from a wide range of workplace hazards, promoting their health and safety. PPE comes in various forms, tailored to address specific dangers, and includes items such as aprons, gloves, safety footwear, safety helmets, high-visibility waistcoats, eye protectors, life jackets, respirators, underwater breathing apparatus, and safety harnesses. These items act as a crucial line of defense, ensuring that workers can perform their duties safely and effectively in environments where potential risks to their well-being exist. Personnel protective equipment, PPE, serves various essential purposes, with considerations for both its utilization and cost-effectiveness. Firstly, PPE functions as a primary means of protection, enabling tasks that would otherwise be challenging or impossible to perform. It is particularly vital in scenarios involving extreme conditions, such as diving or exposure to intense heat or cold, effectively serving as a tool for these demanding jobs. Secondly, PPE acts as a safeguard in case of unforeseen mishaps. It provides a backup layer of protection, for instance, shielding against falling objects that could harm the head or toes, supplementing other control systems in place. PPE also plays a role in preserving product quality, particularly in industries like food production where contaminants must be kept at bay. Additionally, it further reduces exposure to agents, like dust or gas, which are primarily controlled by other means, such as local exhaust ventilation, LEV. In terms of management, the issue and replacement of PPE are meticulously tracked. The date of issue and the recipient are logged. For items with a limited lifespan, such as plastic safety helmets, gas filters, or welders' glass filters, timely replacement or servicing is ensured. If PPE items need to be recalled for testing, as in the case of safety harnesses or treated for flameproofing, the appropriate actions are taken in a timely manner, guaranteeing the ongoing safety and functionality of the equipment. The use of personal protective equipment, PPE, introduces certain risks that individuals need to be aware of and manage. These risks include tripping, falling, and bumping into objects. PPE can impede one's mobility and visibility, increasing the risk of accidents such as tripping, falling, or accidentally colliding with objects. Garment burning. There is a risk of sleeves catching on door handles, and the PPE garment itself may pose a fire hazard. Impaired sense of smell. Wearing a gas mask can remove one's ability to detect odors, which may be crucial for identifying certain hazards. Overheating and reduced mobility. PPE can cause overheating and restrict the wearer's ability to move quickly and easily. Communication problems. Certain PPE, like gloves, can hinder effective communication, and prolonged use may lead to dermatitis, skin abrasions, and wound infections. PPE, especially when ill-fitting or improperly worn, can cause abrasions on the skin and potentially lead to wound infections. Entanglement. PPE can become entangled with equipment, machines, and tools, creating dangerous situations. Faulty maintenance. Inadequate maintenance of PPE can lead to reduced effectiveness and compromised safety. Transfer of contaminants. PPE can inadvertently transfer contaminants onto the wearer or to other surfaces. Extended exposure. In some cases, PPE may inadvertently retain contaminants, extending the exposure of the wearer. To mitigate these risks, it is essential to provide proper training, information, and instruction to individuals using PPE. Additionally, cleaning and decontamination procedures for PPE should be well documented and followed meticulously to ensure the safety of those wearing protective equipment. Personal protective equipment, PPE, has certain limitations that individuals and organizations must recognize. Not a sole solution. PPE should be capable of offering sufficient protection on its own if other control measures are ineffective or fail. However, it is not meant to replace other safety measures. Not 100% protection. PPE, even when used correctly, will not guarantee 100% protection. There may still be some level of risk involved. Interaction with other PPE. The effectiveness of PPE can be influenced when multiple items of protective equipment are worn simultaneously. Compatibility and proper integration are essential. Consistent use. PPE is effective when worn for the entire duration of exposure. Its protection may be compromised if not consistently used. Fit and comfort. Personal factors, including physical characteristics and comfort, can impact the fit and usability of PPE. Proper fitting is crucial for its effectiveness. Health considerations. Pre-existing health conditions, such as asthma or ear infections, may limit the use of specific types of PPE. It is essential to consider the user's health status when selecting and wearing PPE. Understanding these limitations is critical for using PPE effectively and ensuring the safety of individuals in various work environments. Evaluating risks and the adequacy of controls involves understanding the concepts of residual, acceptable, and tolerable risk. Residual risk. After considering the effectiveness of existing controls, the remaining level of risk is known as the residual risk. This indicates the potential harm or danger that still exists despite the implemented safety measures. Acceptable risk. If the residual risk is determined to be at a low level, it may be considered acceptable. In this context, acceptable denotes a level of risk that is deemed reasonable and manageable within the parameters of the given context or situation. Tolerable risk. However, if the residual risk is identified as being at a higher level, a decision must be made regarding whether this residual risk is tolerable or not. Tolerable in this context refers to a risk level that is deemed to be within the bounds of what is reasonable and acceptable, given the circumstances, but is still recognized as posing a certain degree of threat or potential harm. Understanding and properly evaluating these levels of risk are essential for making informed decisions regarding the implementation and effectiveness of control measures within a specific environment or scenario. This process is crucial for maintaining a safe and secure working environment for all individuals involved. Record of significant findings. In order to maintain a comprehensive record of significant findings during risk assessment, the following information should be documented. Area or work activity. Describe the specific location or work activity that has been assessed. Date of evaluation and assessor's name. Note the date when the evaluation was conducted and provide the name of the person responsible for the assessment. Hazard identification. Clearly identify and document the hazards that were identified during the assessment. Exposure. Specify who is potentially exposed to these hazards, including staff, contractors, and visitors. Risk rating. Assign a numerical risk rating and categorize it as high, medium, or low to indicate the severity of the identified risks. Control measures. Detail the control measures currently in place and evaluate their adequacy in addressing the identified hazards. Recommendations for changes. Document any recommendations for changes or improvements to existing control measures or safety protocols. Action required by. Indicate the deadline or time frame by which action needs to be taken to address the identified issues. Responsibility. Clearly assign responsibility for implementing the recommended actions to the relevant individuals or parties. Date of completion. Record the date when the recommended actions are completed or implemented. Further measures or next review. Describe any additional measures that may be needed in the future, or outline plans for the next review of the risk assessment. By maintaining a record with this information, organizations can effectively manage and mitigate risks, ensuring the safety and well-being of all individuals in the workplace. Reviews of risk assessments should be conducted under various circumstances to ensure the continued safety and effectiveness of control measures. These circumstances include: after an agreed set period. Risk assessments should be reviewed at specific intervals as stated on the risk assessment form. This periodic review ensures that control measures remain suitable and effective over time. Following a change of working practices. Whenever there is a significant change in working practices, procedures, or processes, a review of the risk assessment is necessary to assess the impact of these changes on potential hazards. After the delivery or commissioning of new plant or equipment. Whenever new machinery, equipment, or tools are introduced into the workplace, a review of the risk assessment is essential to account for any new hazards that these additions may introduce. After any adverse event or accident. A review should be carried out after any adverse event, accident, equipment failure, or near-miss incident. This allows for an evaluation of the effectiveness of control measures and identifies areas where improvements may be needed. When the original risk assessment is no longer valid. If circumstances change in a way that renders the original risk assessment no longer valid or relevant, a review should be conducted to address the new risk factors. By conducting regular reviews in response to these circumstances, organizations can adapt and enhance their risk management strategies, ensuring the ongoing safety of their work environment and the individuals within it. Within the workforce, there are certain categories of individuals who may be considered particularly vulnerable or in need of special consideration when it comes to their health and safety. These categories include young persons, young workers, often those who are under the legal working age or inexperienced, may require special attention and training to ensure their safety. They may not have the same level of awareness or experience as more seasoned employees. New and expectant mothers, pregnant workers, or those who have recently given birth, require special accommodations and consideration to protect both their health and that of their unborn or newborn child. This includes adjustments to their work tasks and environment. Disabled workers. Individuals with disabilities may have unique needs and requirements to perform their jobs safely and effectively. Reasonable accommodations and accessible workplaces are essential to ensure their well-being. Lone workers. Employees who work alone, without immediate access to assistance or support, face distinct safety risks. Special measures, such as emergency communication protocols, must be in place to protect their well-being. Addressing the needs and safety concerns of these particular and vulnerable personnel is a crucial part of creating an inclusive and secure work environment. Employers should provide appropriate training, support, and accommodations to meet the unique requirements of these individuals, while maintaining a commitment to overall workplace safety. Young persons, defined as individuals under the age of 18, in accordance with national law, have distinct considerations when it comes to employment. Employers must take into account several factors to ensure their safety and well-being in the workplace. Inexperience, lack of awareness, and immaturity. Young workers may lack the experience and awareness of workplace risks that more seasoned employees possess. Their relative immaturity means they may be more susceptible to peer pressure and less likely to assert their rights. Workplace setting and layout. The setting and layout of the workplace and workstations should be designed to minimize hazards and risks. This includes ensuring that young workers have safe and ergonomic workstations. Exposure to agents. Consideration should be given to the nature, degree, and duration of exposure to physical, biological, and chemical agents in the workplace. Young workers may be more vulnerable to the adverse effects of such exposures. Work equipment. The type of work equipment used and how it is operated should be appropriate for young workers, with safety features and controls that are easily manageable. Organization of processes. The organization of work processes and activities should prioritize the safety of young workers. Tasks should be organized to minimize risks. Training. The type, nature, and extent of training provided to young workers are critical. They should receive comprehensive training that covers potential risks, safe work practices, and emergency procedures. Risks from agents. Risks from hazardous agents, such as carcinogens, should be identified and minimized. Protective measures should be in place to safeguard young workers from these risks. By taking these factors into account and implementing appropriate safety measures, employers can ensure that young workers are adequately protected and can gain valuable work experience in a safe and supportive environment. To ensure the safety and well-being of young persons in the workplace, various control measures and safety practices should be implemented. These measures include prohibiting high-risk activities. Certain high-risk activities, such as operating high-risk machinery, should be strictly prohibited for young workers. This reduces the likelihood of accidents and injuries. Establishing clear lines of interaction. Clearly define the lines of interaction and communication between young workers, their supervisors, and their colleagues. This ensures that young workers can seek assistance or report concerns without hesitation. Mentoring. Assigning a more experienced and responsible colleague to mentor young workers can be highly beneficial. This mentorship can provide guidance, answer questions, and help young workers adapt to the workplace. Health surveillance. Implement health surveillance programs to monitor the well-being of young workers. Regular health checks and assessments can help identify and address any health issues that may arise due to workplace factors. Restricting work patterns and hours. Limiting work patterns and hours for young workers, such as prohibiting overtime or excessively long shifts, helps prevent exhaustion and overexertion, contributing to their overall safety and well-being. Training. Provide comprehensive training for young workers to educate them about potential risks, safe work practices, and emergency procedures. Ongoing training and refresher courses are essential to keep them informed and prepared. Supervision. Ensure that young workers are closely supervised, especially during their initial period of employment. Supervisors should monitor their work, offer guidance, and be readily available to address any questions or concerns. By implementing these control measures, employers can create a safer and more supportive environment for young workers, helping them gain valuable work experience while minimizing the risks associated with their relative inexperience. New and expectant mothers, including those who are pregnant, have recently given birth within the previous 6 months, or are breastfeeding, require specific considerations and protections in the workplace to ensure their health and well-being. Employers should be aware of potential hazards and take appropriate measures to support these employees. Hazards to consider. Certain chemicals, example, lead. Exposure to harmful chemicals, such as lead, can have adverse effects on both the mother and the developing child. Steps should be taken to minimize exposure. Certain biological agents, example, rubella virus. Exposure to infectious agents like the rubella virus can pose risks to both the mother and the unborn child. Preventative measures should be in place. Manual handling. Heavy lifting or strenuous manual handling tasks should be avoided, as they can strain the body and potentially harm the pregnancy. Temperature extremes. Extreme temperatures, whether hot or cold, can negatively impact the health and comfort of expectant or new mothers. Whole body vibration. Prolonged exposure to whole body vibration, such as that experienced in certain vehicle operations, should be minimized. Night shifts. Night shifts can disrupt sleep patterns and may not be suitable for expectant or new mothers. Stress. High levels of stress in the workplace can have adverse effects on the well-being of these employees. Measures to avoid. To support new and expectant mothers in the workplace, certain measures should be in place. Avoid lifting heavy loads. New and expectant mothers should refrain from lifting heavy or strenuous loads to prevent physical strain. Avoid working in confined spaces. Working in confined spaces can be physically demanding and stressful, so it should be avoided. Avoid working at unsuitable workstations. Workstations should be ergonomically designed and adjusted to provide comfort and minimize physical strain. Avoid working in stressful or violent environments. High stress or potentially violent work environments should be avoided to ensure the well-being of mothers and their children. Avoid working with lead. Jobs that involve exposure to lead or lead-containing materials should be avoided, as lead can be harmful to both the mother and the child. By identifying and addressing these specific hazards and implementing these measures, employers can create a safer and more supportive work environment for new and expectant mothers, promoting the health and safety of both the employees and their children. Disabled workers and workplace considerations. Definition of disability. Disability in the workplace is a broad term that encompasses a range of conditions, including but not limited to learning difficulties, mental health problems, physical disabilities, which may not be solely mobility related, and communication or sensory impairments. General workplace considerations. To support disabled workers effectively, the workplace should provide additional facilities and considerations, including proper access and egress for wheelchair users. Ensuring that the workplace is accessible for wheelchair users, with appropriate ramps, elevators, and wide doorways, to enable them to enter and exit the premises with ease. Physical signs for visually impaired people. Providing tactile signage and braille labels, to assist visually impaired individuals in navigating the workplace independently. Visual emergency alarms for hearing impaired people. Installing visual emergency alarms, such as strobe lights, to alert hearing impaired individuals during emergency situations. Criteria for workplace access. The workplace should meet specific criteria to ensure access and safety for disabled individuals, including safe building escape. The workplace should be designed to allow individuals with impaired mobility to escape the building safely during emergencies. This may involve accessible emergency exits and evacuation procedures tailored to their needs. Signage usability. Signage within the workplace should be designed to accommodate the needs of individuals with various impairments, ensuring that everyone can effectively use and understand signage throughout the premises. By considering these aspects and implementing the necessary accommodations, employers can create an inclusive and supportive work environment that allows disabled workers to perform their duties safely and efficiently, while enjoying equal access to opportunities and facilities. Lone workers in the workplace. Definition of lone workers. Lone workers are individuals who work in areas or scenarios where no other employees are present. This could be the case for the entire duration of their work, or for shorter periods, such as a few minutes. Examples of lone workers. Various job roles and positions may involve working alone, including but not limited to cleaners, cleaning staff who work in unoccupied areas or outside of regular working hours, security staff, security personnel who patrol empty facilities or perform night shifts, laboratory staff, researchers or technicians who work in laboratories or controlled environments with limited or no colleagues, service engineers, technicians or engineers who perform maintenance or repair work alone at client sites, surveyors, professionals who conduct surveys or assessments independently. Workplace considerations for lone workers. To ensure the safety and well-being of lone workers, the workplace should consider various factors and provide appropriate support and safeguards, including access and egress, safe entry and exit procedures and clear pathways for lone workers, especially in areas with dangerous machinery, hazardous substances and electricity, appropriate handling and procedures related to hazardous substances and the use of electricity to minimize risks, facilities for rest and first aid, access to rest areas and first aid provisions for lone workers to address health and well-being needs. Emergency situations and procedures. Clear guidelines and procedures for responding to emergencies, such as fires, accidents, or medical issues. Medical history and fitness. Awareness of the medical history and fitness of lone workers to address specific health concerns or conditions. Potential for violence. Consideration of potential risks related to violence in certain scenarios or locations, and security measures to prevent harm. Supervision and young workers. Determining the level of supervision required for certain tasks and the suitability of young workers for lone roles. Work process and training. Adequate training and guidance for lone workers, including how to handle the work process and potential challenges that may arise. By addressing these workplace considerations and providing appropriate support, employers can ensure the safety and security of their lone workers while promoting a productive and secure work environment.